Hello, 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 welcome in. Happy Friday. How are you all? I hope you've had a lovely week. Or whenever you're watching this. If you're watching a VOD, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm back. I wasn't streaming on Monday. I apologise. I wasn't feeling very well, but nothing serious. And I'm awake now. I think work and everything just caught up with me, and I needed just a day or two just to crash and not do a lot. Keep up with orders, but that was about it. That was the extent of my my productivity for Monday and Tuesday. But we're back and we're starting a new project. What are we starting, I hear you ask? Well, it's me, the Head. God, what a reference! What a reference to Art Attack. It's a bust. It's another bust. I'm doing a lot of busts recently, but it's because they're all going to GriffCon. They're all going to be in the cabinets at GriffCon, and I want painted. It's not the end of the world if I don't have painted examples, as long as they're printed. But I would like painted examples, and it means it advertises it for the shop. So this is a new range that I listed. This is the only one of the range that's on the website at the moment. This is from Blood and Skulls, which is delightfully named range that is sculpted by, I gotta get this right, Nocturna Models. And some of you might recognise this is actually a Kickstarter that did quite well. And this is the bust version of the full model called Blood and Skulls. I'm actually reprinting the full model because I printed him slightly too small. But this version, it's very, very cool, very highly detailed, but also comes with two heads. Where's the other head? So we've got the head with the hair and the beard, and then a little mohawk head as well. I'm only going to paint one of them, and I like both of them, but I wanted this one. So, how are we going to start? We're going to start by dry brushing the whole thing white, and go from there. But I hope everyone's had a lovely week. Wherever you are in the world, whatever you may be doing. I'm just going to essentially slap chop, but we're going to go a little heavy on the white on the skin sections. So it is going to be dry brushing, but it's also kind of over brushing. And there'll be sections where I'll go back over. We're heavy on the skin, heavy on things like the teeth and detailing like that. I may even go in and do some actual painting. I know, insane, right? I think we will. Yeah, well, I think definitely. Maybe not full-on white paint the skin, because I like the texture you get with dry brushing, or this kind of style. So we're just going to do circular motions and see how far we can go. I'm undecided on the hair colour though. I'm not sure. It's a very kind of World of Warcraft style orc. So we might go just black. He's got a kind of, no, it's not Grom Hellscream, it's the other one. It's the, I can't remember his name. Guy from Warcraft 3 that you play as. Greytooth, hey! Bit of slap chop, eh? I find too many people just use 100% speed paint or contrast paint and it obliterates the texture. If you do a 50-50 ratio with medium, you get colour and keep the texture most times. I think it depends on what you're painting. First of all, hi. Welcome in. I think it does depend on what you're painting. I actually experimented with a bit more medium. I like 100% contrast, but it depends on the technique that you're going for. Wow, that has really blown out the camera. For example, the Tyranid that I did a tutorial for that came out yesterday. This is the first coat was 100% speed paint, and then it was shaded with a 50-50 mix of I think Goddess Glow and speed paint medium, and it was really nice. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to do the first coat at 100%, and then we're going to work in with any kind of shading. We'll work with medium. With Slapshot about. Oh, I see. I think, again, it depends on what you're painting. I think, because if you try to, that's why I'm going heavy on the skin, because if you try going in on skin tones with Slapshot, I feel like you just don't get the right tone. Too much of the black undercoat shines through, depending on the skin tone. So yeah, by and large, I agree, but it does depend on what you're working for, on what you're working on. Speaking of which, what are you working on, Greytooth? What's on the painting table for you? That's kind of where I want to get the skin up to. That's really bright on the camera. I fully acknowledge that. It isn't that bright in real life, because that's not how that works. Do I paint? Yes, we're going to paint all of this at the same time. So now to move on to the body. Sorry, the first, I wanted to get this bit done before stream, but I guess it's useful to watch. I just ran out of time. Been running around this morning, making sure orders are getting out and responding to various inquiries. Hey, Squeezle, how's it going? Why did that? I don't know what's happening with the redeems. I think redeem. I think the redeems are just a thing of the past, because I don't know why they're not. It's just it's separate to. It's a different kind of thing to Twitch, I think. Greytooth Stomper. Oh yeah, you're working on Stomper. So I'm hitting the limits on what contrast can do without coffee staining. That, I don't know whether this helps. I'm planning on doing a couple of videos on working on armor panels with contrast and speed paints, and in fact I'm hoping to do include it in the workshop, in the painting workshop at GriffCon. For that, I'd actually recommend, if you're looking for input, Slapshot, but also stippling, like stippling Slapshot. So you're placing those textures in beforehand, and rather than using the speed paint to kind of flow into the recesses, you just use it for tinting. And so you actually thin it down. Well, you might need to thin it down. You'll definitely need to thin contrast down. And then maybe do one or two coats and let the Slapshot shading work as your recess shading. And that's kind of what I've done on a couple of models. This one is to hand. But I think you might have been in the... So I did that on this model. And there's quite a lot of detail on there, but there are some flat surfaces. And it worked out quite well. So yeah, I'm going to be doing at least one video on that, because I feel like it's very good for Space Marines, if nothing else, but also bigger things like tanks. Shiny! Hey Shiny, how's it going? So we'll just build up this dry brush. I don't know if it's seeing on camera. You can see it on camera, but the amount of just dust, paint dust that's flicking up at the moment is insane. Okay. Make sure we're getting most of that paint off. I'm going to do the overall dry brush all over, and then we'll go back in for the skin tones and the horns, and anything that will be quite light, we'll go in with an extra bit of paint. So I don't with slap chop, traditional slap chop. You're supposed to use grey. I just like going black to white and just doing 2 coats. One being slightly light, which essentially kind of works as the grey, and then go in with those brighter parts with another coat. And that's what we're doing right now. So we're going in with this white, trying to keep the texture. This also works for lighting. There we go. We're trying to get out to that kind of brightness. So it needs to go a little bit more. Not much. Squeezle, how are you, my friend? If you're still in the chat. I might, because we've got some... Yeah, we've got some metal work here, so I'm going to use some stippling on this. It's got some rocks acting as a base, so I'm just going to add a little bit more paint down there. This doesn't actually have like a proper plinth. It doesn't come with one, so but it does have these rocks around the base, which kind of work or act as a plinth. So we're almost there. A little bit more on that skull, although I don't think that's actually going to be. That's more decoration than actual skull. Okay, I think that's pretty much. Actually, we've got a little bit more white paint. And then I'll go in with a stippling brush and do a little bit of pre-highlighting rather than pre-shading. A little bit more work on the shoulder here. A little bit more paint, make it a tad brighter. And because we're using makeup brushes, it's quite nice to go in circular motions to really actually get the paint into those sections that wouldn't necessarily catch it. Okay, we're going to just give that brush a wash off, and we're going to swap over to a smaller dry brush just so we have a bit more control in some sections. Let's give that a proper beat the devil out of it style. Smaller dry brush. Not you, you're too small. We want, where's the medium one? I know I've got one that is the perfect size, and I can't for the life of me find it right now. So maybe we'll go for this one. Where's the small one? Where's the dry brush I need? maybe use... No, I've got... I'm sure I've got a different one. Oh well, okay, maybe I'm just going insane. I'm sure I've got like a slightly rounded one, a slightly like flatter one than this. Oh well, alright, fine. It's okay, brush, I will use you. So, we couldn't quite get in to this section here. A little bit more control. And I think we might end up just painting these horns, maybe? Yeah, I think we'll end up painting those horns. Okay. Stipple brush is where's the stipple brush? That'll do. You're kind of a stipple brush. So Greytooth, if you're still there, this is kind of what I mean by stippling on the texture on the armour. So we've got these sections here, and we've got what I would call a stipple brush. It's an old Citadel dry brush that's just knackered, but you take some white paint and you just kind of stipple on a random pattern, and this will act as your really bright highlight. And you don't want to blend it in, you want those spots to kind of stick out. And it's really useful if you've got a couple of spots in a really dark area, so it really pops. It's kind of been blown out by the camera, to be fair, so I apologise if you can't really see it. And you just do this on all of the metal sections. And you kind of want a splayed out brush like this, or like a stipple brush, or something like that. There we go, and we'll just continue it around the back. So this is all setting up the next stage. We're just laying those foundations down, ready for the speed paints. But yeah, this kind of works for any kind of armor, tanks, Space Marines, anything like that. I think. Okay. There you go. You can see that. You can kind of see it's being blown out a little bit, but by the exposure. Right, last thing to do before we actually start throwing some colour onto this is I want to paint those horns fully white. So we've actually used all four of these dry brushes for different purposes to do this job, to get just to prepare the model. Let's just get a basic. Doesn't really matter what kind of brush. It's not detail work. And we'll just do a solid white base coat on the horns. Ooh, very nice chilled out music. Hey Velreth, welcome in. How you doing? I might just do that on this horn as well. Is there any... Oh, I'll do it on the teeth of the orc, I think, as well, of the face. The mouth teeth. Doing okay? Good, 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 good. Thank you very much for swinging by. There we go, those. So 2 more on this shoulder. And then we'll leave this to dry while we start working on the head. And that's kind of where I can map out my ideas. I'm fairly certain I know where I'm taking the paint job. I'm not too worried about sending the white into all of the recesses. It's okay to leave a little bit, and also most of that's actually going to be underneath the head itself, so not too worried about that. But as long as the kind of main part of the tooth or teeth goes quite bright, because otherwise paints like Bony Matter just don't have enough white to kind of cling to, and they get lost, I think. And as soon as we start the actual painting of with the colours, I will start the TikTok stream. Right, I think we're pretty good there. Yeah. Trying to come up with enemy NPCs for my game project. What kind of thing are you after? I'll throw some ideas at you. Okay. Right. I think we're at a stage where we can start throwing some colour on this. So yeah, okay, cool. Right. Let us... Oh, hang on, I've got a message. Ooh. Cool. Let's start throwing some colour onto this face. We're going to start with algae green. We're pretty much going to follow the colour scheme that I did on this model for the tutorial on YouTube. And so we're going to start with algae green and then go in with orc flesh afterwards and blend it in. But we're going to use a slightly different technique than before. And also because we're going in with a kind of slap chop approach, we may not need to shade as much. Because the shadows are already actually quite dark. But the orc flesh does give us that kind of vivid, really vibrant skin tone. Whereas this is quite muted. Which is nice. I do like, especially with that kind of Warcraft style of orc, it's very, very bright and in your face. At least the ones I remember are. So much texture on this sculpt, it's really, really nice. Welcome in everyone on TikTok. How you doing? Hope you're having a lovely day, had a lovely week. You join me as I start painting. I have started painting the Blood and Skulls bust. Available on my website as of yesterday. It went live. Yesterday? I think. No, Wednesday, I think. welcome in. Valreth, it's a fantasy project, but otherwise I'm open to any ideas. Currently trying to fill out my Pyre Witches. Okay. So for Pyre Witches, I mean, I would take... it depends on the setting, actually. It depends how dark and gothic you want to go, or whether it's high fantasy, or... whether you want to take inspiration from things like Wicker Man, that kind of thing. Or the Crucible. Ooga Chaka, hey, how's it going? Which green did you choose? Is that algae green? It is algae green. Good eye. So yeah, this is I'm using the same colours that I used on the Orc Skin tutorial that went out on YouTube last week. So we'll do algae green first. It's a little darker because we're doing... we've done it over a dry brush rather than a solid white. So I might, in fact, actually dry brush up to catch the highlights and then go over again. Thank you very much for the gift. And all the likes, everyone. Welcome in, welcome in. What kind of paints do I use? King Cobra, right now I'm using speed paints. Most of my projects will use speed paints and contrast, if not all of them. It's kind of my jam. Okay, so that is the head base coated with algae green. We'll move on to the body and do exactly the same. Because there's so much texture on this sculpt, it allows the speed paint to really shine in its in what it does best. Just flow into all those recesses. I'm not putting that much on the brush because I want the shadows from the dry brushing that we did to help. I don't want to go over them too much because then it will end up with a weird kind of lighter green than the shadow, and it doesn't work. So I'm making sure I'm taking a lot of the paint out of the recesses and not letting it stick there. But if you have any questions about what I'm doing, the process, or miniature painting in general, or 3D printing, because this is a 3D printed model, then don't be afraid to ask. Those of you on TikTok, I am streaming over on YouTube at the moment where you do have better cameras, more angles, and the music as well. And a dog cam, my god, YouTube has everything. But if not, thank you very much for tuning in. What green? This is algae green. Speed paint algae green. It's a light olive green. And this is technically going to be the highlight color, but it's actually gone a little darker than I anticipated. So I'm going to probably dry brush some highlights in, or dry brush white over the most prominent areas, and go back in with a lighter green, maybe like Gilly Dew. Oh, I've been stupid. I have been massively stupid. That's why it's darker. It's because the skin tone that I used on the previous orc wasn't this paint. It was Gilly Dew. I just looked up and went, oh, I'm using the wrong paint. So that'll be why. That'll be why. Valreth, I was thinking this enemy hunts souls on battlefields and burns the souls they collect to fuel their magic. I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. That's a sick idea. You could add in another kind of dimension to that, where they think they're like an undead cleric, or an ex-cleric or something like that, and they think that they're doing... they think that they're kind of battlefield healing, essentially. And sending the souls to their relevant places in the afterlife. Whereas, in fact, they're not. They're being kind of manipulated by darker forces. How do you practice being more precise? I want to use contrast for base paints, but I'm super sloppy on my base paints, like slipping over onto other sections. What I would recommend you do, and this is shameless self-promotion, head over to my YouTube, because I have a load of speed paints, or I have some, and am growing the library of speed paint and contrast tutorials, and that's something I cover in pretty much all the tutorials. But as an overall kind of thing, when you're working with speed paints and any kind of washes or anything like that, first of all, look at and get used to the water tension of each paint, and help that and use that to your advantage, and then break the model up into sections. Don't just kind of go all over the place. Pick a section, especially it's very useful for armor panels, and I'll take for example here the Tyranid that was in the most recent tutorial. The chitin is split up into sections, so even though you're doing a speed paint, you can just focus on one section at a time, making sure that you've got an even nice coat there, and then move on to the other one, because then you don't have these weird kind of blending lines. A good brush is definitely helps as well, something that holds a point, or can maintain a point while holding a load of speed paint. Okay, so yeah, this was totally not the paint that I intended to put on this model, but that's okay because we can dry brush afterwards, and then put the paint on that we intended to. Do I do that now? Yeah. Has that dried enough? Has that dried enough? Sure. Let's find out. Let's find out. For this, we're going to use the smallest dry brush that I have, which is a tiny little makeup brush. And I need some white paint. Big Rig, what's up? Welcome in. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm all good. How are you? Thanks. I'll check it out. Want to start my Genestealer cult on me soon? Yes. Contrast is like cheat mode for them. Yeah, absolutely. I've just got the older Combat Patrol for Genestealer cults, because I absolutely love Genestealer cults, and I've been meaning to get this box set for ages. And then I saw that they were discontinuing it in favour of the newer one, which I don't think personally is as cool. And yes, Genestealer cults, there's so much texture on those, on not only the kind of more Tyranid side of them, but also all of their uniforms and kind of worker overalls and armour. There's loads of texture that you can utilise with contrast and speed paints. So yeah, absolutely, it's a great use for them. And yeah, I mean, that tutorial for this Tyranid, and there's another one for Hive Fleet Leviathan, they're both up on YouTube. Working on a Space Marine Judicia right now, trying to speed paint medium with Pro Acryl paint. Ooh, okay, intriguing. How's it going? Picked up the new Battle Force box and the older Combat Patrol box. The older Combat Patrol box is, yes, absolutely fantastic. I love that box. New Combat Patrol is honestly not it. They're removing all the big vehicles from the boxes, and most of the like, I think technically you still make a saving, but you don't get anywhere near as much as many models. I love the fact that you got like 2 full units of like kind of infantry grunts and what are they called, acolytes, and the abominations and the whatever the other ones are. I love that, and a hero and a vehicle. That's insane. That's a good deal. And then they kind of changed it, and I was less enthused. So you can see I'm just highlighting those sections where I want a little bit more of a lighter skin tone. And so we're just going to wash that brush off, and I'm going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to get Ghillie Dew, which is the paint that I was supposed to use in the first place. And we're going to do a 1-to-1 mix ratio of that and some speed paint medium, wherever it is. Here, the big bottle. Keelan, any ideas for painting good red orc skin like World of Warcraft TBC? Shrinkflation hitting the combat boxes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that is unfortunately a thing. Red skin. Actually, it's quite similar. Okay, I keep coming back to this model. It's really useful that I've got it to hand. Hey, Half Dead, welcome in. This kind of red, I think, would work, and this kind of style would work on red orc skin. I don't know if that's the kind of thing you're after. In which case, if it's a yes, go and watch the YouTube video. This is the most recent one. It's the tutorial. It came out yesterday. It's on my channel, and there's a whole paint list in the description, and it'll go through the whole process. So yeah, this chitin here, this armor, is just 2 paints. That is just 2 paints. Right, okay, so we've done the re-highlighting. We've got some Ghillie Dew, and we're going to go... We really don't need a lot on this one. So we're going to do 3 drops of Ghillie Dew and 3 drops of Speed Paint Medium. Bob's Models! Hello, welcome in. And I think that was 3 or 4 drops of medium. I wasn't looking. I probably should have been looking. And we'll mix that in. That's the wrong one. I've just put that in completely the wrong thing. That one, there we go. Yeah, that's a lot lighter. And we will now, because we've used the medium, we should get a nice blend and no or limited drying marks. I'm not loading up the brush a lot, I'm just tinting that white. I'm drawing it over the top of the model. We kind of want to leave the lower sections alone. Just see a couple of lines. We want to make those lines, those drying lines, a little bit more subtle. So we're going in with a bit of a drier brush, a damp brush. There you can see the difference between the skin on the body there and the skin on the face. It's got a little bit more vibrancy to it. Just bought some Hellblaster Space Marines. They are great. They're the ones with the melter guns, or I can't remember which ones. I have lost all memory of various Primaris Marines and what they are armed with. I want to say melter guns or something like that. Plasma guns, thank you. Half Dead. Watching while on hold today. The hold music is permanently ingrained in my brain at this point. Unfortunately, my hold music is a little bit more entertaining than kind of standard hold music, so hopefully that's helping. Shiny, this She-Hulk Goblin is super fun so far. She-Hulk Goblin? She-Hulk Goblin? I'm very intrigued. What are you painting? What are you working on? What 40k army plays do you play just needs? I don't actually play 40k. I don't actually play any Warhammer games anymore. I play one-page rules, and for that I've got some Battle Sisters, and I'm just about to start what you would consider a Gene Stealer cults. I think they're called the Soul Snatcher cults in one-page rules, which I'm going to mix some Gene Stealer cults. I'm going to mix them Human Defense Force and some Alien Hives in there as well, but kind of use the Gene Stealer cults models. There we go. Okay, I think those two things are actually piercing, so we'll bear that in mind for a little later on. I used to play 40k, and throughout my 25 years plus, or 25 plus years of being in the hobby, I pretty much played every army, I think. There's a couple of exceptions. Or there's armies that I've started and then never really actually got involved in. Like Chaos Space Marines, I never really gave a proper go at. What's the material of this figure? This is a 3D printed bust, so this is ABS-like resin. And for those of you interested, this model is available on my website, alchemistmodels.com. It went live on Wednesday, so you'll find it in the new releases section. There's some cool Skaven rat themed models called Cheese Stealer Cult. That's fantastic. I'm here for it. Skaven are probably one of my favourite army concepts ever created. I absolutely love Skaven. And so if I was interested in Age of Sigmar, the new 4th edition box would tempt me because there's some very, very cool models in there. Chinese, pretty much just a goblin done by Twin Goddess and has a She-Hulk costume on it. Brilliant. I'm here for it. Fantastic. Half Dead. It's getting creepy though, Alki. You did a speed paint video on Highfleet Kraken, which my dad plays now, an orc boss that my brother has just started building and painting. Well, I don't want to use the phrase trendsetter. I'm not using the phrase trendsetter. But, is it a character from WoW? No, it's very much got kind of World of Warcraft vibes, but no, this model is kind of unique. It's from a Kickstarter that I got a commercial license for, called Blood and Skulls, and this character is actually called Blood and Skulls. It's like the main character from the Kickstarter, and there's quite a few other characters. There's like a shield break, or it's called Shield Breaker, but it's a Minotaur. And it's another bust that I have. Oh no, it's in a bag over there. I haven't actually made that one yet. But it's very much got World of Warcraft vibes. And since this is the bust, like the full model is riding. I don't even know what kind of beast it is. A kind of generic orc type beast. It's not a squig, but it's kind of like a squig angry dog bear hybrid, I guess would be the best way of putting it. The lack of Space Skaven in 40k makes me sad. That's why I think Cheese Stealers are cool. Cheese Stealers are very cool and I love that concept. There is, if you have a look at Mantic, who basically are the OG I would say rip-offs, but they knew what they were doing when they started creating stuff. They have the Veermen, which are Veemyrn, I think. No, Veermyn, which are just Space Skaven. And the fact that GW haven't done Space Skaven is beyond me. But yeah, there's plenty of models out there to make you happy if that's what you want. Okay, cool. So you can just see the subtle dry brushing on the raised sections of the muscles, and that's where we're going to put the Ghillie Dew, which adds a little bit more vibrancy to the skin, and then we'll double that even more when we start putting the orc flesh into the recesses, which will be the next stage. Is this resin 3D printed? It is indeed, yes. I run alchemistmodels.com, which is a 3D print shop, and this is one of the models that is available on there. So I use ABS-like resin that I find is much friendlier and much easier to use regards to kind of cleanup for models, and it's a lot tougher. Like the resin I used to use was incredibly brittle, like standard 3D print resin is quite brittle, whereas if I dropped this off the table, I would have like I'd be like 95% sure that this would be absolutely fine. This, I mean, maybe this might break, possibly, but I'd expect that from like anything. But if you dropped like an older or like normal resin 3D print, it would shatter on impact. That's why I don't like using other kind of resin. I like the ABS stuff, and it's also so much nicer to clean up as well. Velreth, has OPR made Space Ratman models yet? They haven't made the models yet, but I believe there is the rules. They've got them in Grimdark Future, so there is rules for them, which means there will be models eventually, which is very, very exciting. I'm trying to find more WoW-themed orcs printable for 40k, so this is really cool. Hey, awesome. Yeah, so this is a bust, so it wouldn't necessarily work for 40k, but I don't actually have the model. No, it's out in the workshop, and it's not the right scale anyway. But the full-size model of this could work for 40k, maybe. Just got on Mars for Max, being scared to start. Don't be scared. Go for it. Go for it. Thank you very much for all the follows and likes over on TikTok. Much appreciated. Big Reg, FYI, Pro Acryl, Burnt Red, and Speed Paint Medium doesn't work too well. How would you mix mediums 50-50? That all depends on what you're trying to do. I'm using 50-50. It all depends on the paint. It all depends on... So if you're trying to make a speed paint out of Pro Acryl, like Pro Acryl is incredibly highly pigmented, so I would use maybe like 2 drops to a ratio to 2 to 8 maybe for that. Do you have YouTube to learn painting or recommendations? I do, absolutely. I'm actually streaming to YouTube right now. You can find the link to my channel in my bio, or just Alchemist Models on YouTube. And I'm putting more and more tutorials out. The 2 most recent ones I did was we looked at orc skin, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm using the same kind of method. And then the one that went out yesterday was a complete how-to paint job on the Hive Fleet Kraken Tyranids. And more coming in the future. I'm trying to put out one video. I try and do 2 streams a week, Monday and Friday, and 1 tutorial, or 1 kind of general video. So three bits of content a week. I'm trying. It doesn't always work. But that's the aim. Half Dead. I tried doing some orc skin a while ago. It was a very weird paint job, and I tried using purple and reds as an undertone to make the skin seem more vibrant and realistic. Yes, I would agree with that method. Absolutely. What I did with... Hang on, sorry, I need more kitchen roll. What I did with my orc skin and what we're going to do with this is, and you can kind of see it on this model here, which I go into in the tutorial, around the nose and the eyes and just a tiny bit on the ears, I added a little bit of what was it? I think it was Familiar Pink. It's quite vibrant, but over a yellow and green it dulls down quite a lot and just adds a little bit more tonal variation into the skin. Now for this I didn't, but I will do going forward. I'm going to mix it with medium just to give it a little bit more flow to it. Hello, I'm New. What do you do? Hi, New. I'm Dad. Classic. I paint miniatures. Welcome in. So right now I'm painting an orc bust, a fantasy orc bust. I just got a new follower, and I really hope that was because of the dad joke. If it's not, I'm disappointed. So yeah, I'm painting this orc bust. It's called Blood and Skulls, or I've just called it an orc boss bust because that's easier for people to kind of grasp immediately. And we're just working on the skin tones at the moment. So I'm working on this model because in 26 days I've got a trade stall at GriffCon 24. And so I'm trying to paint up as many examples as possible. The dad joke it was. Brilliant. Cool. Amazing. Thank you very much. How long have you been painting in your life? So I've been in the hobby for 25 plus years, so most of my life. I think it's probably about like 27 years now, which is insane. I haven't been painting all that time. I used to like play the games a lot more, and I used to be much more into converting. Actually, painting was my least favourite thing to do. But ever since lockdown and COVID, that's when I quit my job 2 months before lockdown hit in the UK, which was an awful decision to do. It wasn't actually. I don't regret it. But that got me back into painting and commission work, and that's where I started streaming, and that's pretty much led to what I'm doing now. Half Dead, I'm a 3D animator and modeler, so trying to use same methods I use on 3D work to my minis has worked pretty well so far. Oh, intriguing. Okay. That's really interesting, because last night at 3 o'clock in the morning, I made a decision that after GriffCon and after kind of the rush of getting everything ready, I'm going to dedicate some time every week to learning to 3D sculpt. So I didn't sculpt this. I have a commercial license that I own to print and sell these, but I would love to be able to create my own models. I really do want to get to that point. So I'm going to teach myself 3D sculpting. That's my kind of self-growth project. Time has paid off well. Your paintwork looks fantastic so far. Tay Bunny, thank you very much. That's incredibly kind. That's very kind of you. My main thing is speed paint, and I like making the hobby as accessible as possible. If you want award-winning paint jobs that take hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, I am not the content creator for you. If you want something that is accessible for people of all kind of experience and kind of skill levels, that's something I can help you out with. If you're using Blender, I'd recommend the donut tutorial. I've seen the donut tutorial. I'm not using Blender because Blender I'm not going to lie, scares me a lot. I've got an iPad and I've got Nomad, which I've used before and I really enjoy. So I'm gonna focus on Nomad, which I know isn't as powerful, but I think it's a really good bit of software. And I've already sculpted a couple of things on there, so I'm familiar with the UI, and I have a rough kind of starting line with that. So I want to continue with Nomad. Does work pretty well. Yeah, I really enjoy it. And I like the fact it's on the iPad, and I own it. I don't need to buy anything else. So yeah, I'm happy with continuing with Nomad. I know it's not as powerful, but I'm cool with it. Hello from Oklahoma. Hi, Oklahoma. That would make a cool draw pool in a kid's room. It would be a very cool draw pool. I mean, it's quite spiky, and it would break. In a kid's room, it would break very, very quickly. But it would be very cool. The other thing that works really well is ZBrush. I've had a look at ZBrush. Yeah, ZBrush seems like the next step up, and it seems like a very similar UI to Nomad. But yes, I also looked at the price of ZBrush, and I didn't have a good reaction. So should 3D sculpting become a thing in my future, I would look at, probably rather than going to Blender, I would look at ZBrush. I really don't want to go to. I don't want to use Blender. It scares me. It scares me in the same way that Photoshop scares me. I'm not technically minded in that way. So yeah, I would probably look at ZBrush, but I'm happy with Nomad, or using Nomad for now. So right now I'm using Orc Skin mixed with Speed Paint Medium. For those who don't know, Medium is essentially paint without the pigment. So this means it is thinning the paint down without reducing any of the effectiveness. Yeah, that's the word. That's a word. Which means it flows really nicely, and it's not giving us horrible drying lines. And this is just adding a little bit more vibrancy into the skin tone. And we're just putting this into the recesses of the skin. Just about to ask what I was using to thin the pigments. Yeah. So The paints I use are from Army Painter. They're called Speed Paints. I use Citadel Contrast as well, but I'm using these more and more and more. And then I've got a big old bottle of Speed Paint Medium. So the mix I've got at the moment is, I didn't even measure it. I just eyeballed it. But I would say it's roughly 50-50, but that would be a very rough. Can you export from Nomad to Blender? Otherwise, what app would you use to cut and key model pieces? I believe you can cut and key model in Nomad. I believe. As an avid Blender who only really dug deep into Blender over the last year, once you've nailed the basics, it gets quite easy to use. But I've only just scratched the surface as what is. Yeah, I think that's the. I need something that's accessible from the get-go, and for me, that was Nomad. I've heard from other people that Blender is great when you get past that initial terrifying stage. But for me, I'm learning something new, so I want to make that as accessible as possible. So having that kind of terrifying initial stage of getting in is not going to help me be productive, and I need to be productive in this. But I totally get and respect where kind of Blender sits in the industry. Hey Bunny, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this is turning out, and there's not much there's two different tones on this, but it does kind of blend in together. Once you start adding this quite vibrant green, it pushes the highlights that you've already worked on. So it's doing multiple things, and also because algae green? Yeah, algae green is kind of a light olive colour. You've got hints of brown in this as well, which is really nice to see. And because we've used the Speed Paint Medium, it's giving me a little bit more time, especially because today is really quite hot and quite dry in my studio. It's giving me a little bit extra time to work on the paint, which again prevents those horrible drying lines. I love that Blender is improving at such a rapid pace. How old is it? Blender's been around for a while, right? And Blender is more, not more, but you can use it for animation as well. I'm only interested in kind of doing 3D sculpting for 3D printing. So that's kind of my end goal. I think Blender would come with a lot of features that I don't have any use for, and I feel like they would distract and intimidate me in the process of learning. So Bunny, you have a lovely day as well. Thank you very much for swinging by, and feel free to check out the YouTube channel as well, because that's where I stream most of my work. But have a great day. Blender is a jack of all trades. Yeah, that's the vibe I was getting from it. Sorry for all the blab. I'm heading off to uni in September to study 3D animation and modeling. No blab at all. No, I'm really this is a subject that has interested me for a while. I have obviously experience with 3D printing, and I have experience with pretty much every other aspect apart from the modeling side of things, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, but haven't had the chance, or I've lacked the tools, or there's always been something that's stopping me. And now I'm in a position where the only thing that's stopping me is me. So I've made the conscious decision to kind of go for it and teach myself. Oh, I'm really liking that skin tone. Oh, lovely. Especially when we start adding some pinks in there and some purples. That's going to look cool. Right, we'll just work on the neck a little bit. And it will come to a point where I can actually glue the head on and work on the piece as a whole. I'm only doing this because this beard overlaps quite a lot of the model. And I didn't want to. I didn't want to kind of put it all together and then it just not work as a piece because I couldn't get to certain parts. So usually I will paint where it's all assembled, but sometimes it just calls for a little bit of sub-assembling. It's a long road. Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. But I'm at a point when GriffCon's out of the way and the shop is doing you know, fairly regular sales, and I'm not having to put as much time into it. That's when my kind of schedule frees up a little bit. Painted guy painting Warhammer. I'm not painting Warhammer, but I am painting a fantasy miniature bust. This thing's much bigger than Warhammer. It's just a bust. It's not a full model, but it is a fantasy orc. So something you'd find in Warhammer. Fair Earth, I went to college for both those aspects twice, actually, and I'm looking at YouTube and courses that creators have made for free and paid for getting back into animation and modelling. Yeah. That's the other thing, is the more and more I kind of interact with YouTube, being a creator on there now, myself, the more I'm seeing, like, everything you could possibly, or most things that you could possibly want to learn is on YouTube, or in one way or another. And the fact that I found last night, again at 3 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep because some lovely dog of mine, who is now completely passed out, kept waking me up. I found a whole kind of beginner's course to Nomad, taking you step by step through a production of making like a Darth Grogu sculpt. So I'm gonna kind of work my way through that in my own time. And the other thing, like working with a paid course, is there's that sense of like you have to. I can't really do it on my own time, and I really work best in, you know, when I have complete control over my time. When I've got deadlines for like courses and things like that, I don't work very well. Do you paint Warhammer at other times? I do indeed. In fact, two of the tutorials that I just put up were for Warhammer models or Warhammer adjacent models. So two of the last tutorials that I did for YouTube was looking at orc skin, which this is the kind of method that I'm applying to the bust, just on a larger scale, and a Hive Fleet Kraken Tyrannid, which was the tutorial that went live yesterday, and you can find them both and more on my YouTube channel. Where did I get the model? The model is available on my web store, alchemistmodels.com. So it's a 3D print. I run a 3D printing shop, and yeah, you can pick it up there. But I got the sculpt from a Kickstarter that I backed about a year and a half ago. It was a while ago. Right, I'm going to swap over brush because that brush isn't going to be. I don't want to mess up that big brush, that nice brush on this large surface area. So that's still, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just wondering whether I need to add more. More medium, or if it's running out, it's getting a little too dry, but I think we're good. It's drying out on the edges, but I think we're okay. So I'm just putting this orc flesh into the deepest recesses, and then if it's running over a little bit too much, I'm wetting the brush and just taking off those main highlights. What's your YouTube channel? Alchemist Models. You can find a link in my bio, in my link tree. I'll watch tonight because I have the same Tyrannid miniature. Awesome! Yeah. Please do. Thank you. Yeah, it's Alchemist Models. There's painting tutorials. I'm live streaming there at the moment, so if you fancy coming over, you'll have a better view of the model. And you have a dog cam as well. You can watch a dog sleeping, which is kind of what we're really here for the internet, isn't it? But yeah, it's got a couple of Hobby Talk videos. It's a relatively new channel. I say new, like I've only really started been adding to it since kind of December last year. But it's getting there. I'm very close to getting YouTube partner, which is lovely. I never thought that was going to be a thing. So thank you very much to the community as a whole for supporting my content. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's add a little bit of green around there. Having a damp brush helps kind of blend the paint in to the existing sections. And you can kind of see the difference in vibrancy between the left and right sections here. This is before and this is after. And it just adds that extra like variant. It stops the skin looking quite as flat. Love this figure. Hey, awesome. Well, I'm glad you like the figure. So there's the body. There is the head. It's a really, really nice model. Once I paint the beard, I think I will attach I need to do that necklace actually. So I don't think the head will be attached in this stream. Maybe next stream. How do I make the paint so shiny? Is it shiny? I think that's just the light. It's not a gloss paint. I think that's just the light reflecting off the wet paint. I don't have any ideas for a Tyranid base. You have any ideas? I have lots of ideas in general. Very few of them are worthy, but actually on my, again, I feel like I'm just like, hey, here's my YouTube channel, go watch stuff. But also, hey, here's my YouTube channel, go watch stuff. There is a base tutorial looking at a wasteland base, which I really enjoyed doing. So maybe that's something that might be of interest. It's over on the channel. I think that was the first tutorial I put out. And it's incredibly simple. It is really, really simple to do. It involves 2 paints. And you get a very... I can show you actually. You get that kind of base. And that is 2 paints. Not even any dry brushing. 3 paints if you include a white base coat. And then this just needs a couple of tufts and then it's done. I need to put some rust on the guns actually, I missed those. Just joined, looking really nice, thank you very much. Thank you for joining in. How are you today? Right, so we've just got this section here. So we'll start over here and we'll just add this vibrant green in. Again, just work it off the raised sections and into the recesses in the middle. Gonna check it out. I'm definitely going to do that. Yeah, it's a really, really simple basing effect, and very effective. I use kind of like a winter tuft on it as well afterwards, and that works quite well. But you can see the final result. It's called the Wasteland Base Tutorial, but you'll find it on my YouTube channel. Still scared to start painting my first model. Other than that, great. Don't be scared. I know it's so easy for me to say, don't be scared. But honestly, don't be scared. What is the worst that could happen? Just go for it. Everyone starts somewhere. You should. I don't have my first ever model because it was that I painted because it was so long ago and I have no idea whatever happened to it. But it was truly awful. So I guarantee you, whatever you do won't be as bad as my first model that I ever painted. I was literally thinking about painting orcs today. Hey, awesome! Well, if you want a skin tutorial, this is on YouTube. This tutorial here, and this had 1, 2, just the skin, not including like the teeth and the tongue and the eyes and things like that. But the skin is 3 paints, and only 2 of those are green. First model is Saint Celestine. I messed up. That is quite ambitious. To be fair, it's not as ambitious as someone else in my community who their first hero model was Belisarius Cal, which is insane. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you mess up. It doesn't matter at all. You, throughout your painting hobby or career or however you want to see it, you're gonna mess up. Of course you are. I mess up all the time. But you learn from your mistakes. You learn every single time. This model here, I messed up within 10 minutes of painting this because I started with the wrong color. But I changed the approach. I started with algae green and I was supposed to start with Gilly Dew. I even did a tutorial focusing on that very thing, and yet I still picked the wrong paint. But it looks alright, doesn't it? I'm okay with it. Awesome painted guy, thank you. Yeah. Pop up. I mean, feel free to pop into the YouTube chat. Like right now, I'm streaming on YouTube at the moment, and you have better cameras over there. Great color. What are your plans for the rest? Plan? I don't plan stuff. I'm thinking, like, considering the amount of people who have come in and said, "Oh, is that a World of Warcraft model?" I'm thinking of going World of Warcraft. So I can't remember his name, but the main orc character from Warcraft 3: Reign of Chaos. The guy that kind of rode around on a wolf. So I'm thinking like black hair for the orc, and then maybe like a beigey kind of brown fur on here, kind of very gently rusted like steel metal, or iron. No, not steel, iron on the shoulder, and then I don't know, maybe gold for here. A red belt, possibly like a dark red leather belt. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Just don't want to mess her up and then I have to have a Celestine 2.0. Feel like I'm letting her down. No, not at all. Not at all. Don't think that. Raven Scythe Production. Thank you very much for coming over from TikTok. I recognise the name. Rhett! What up, Rhett? How's it going? Aspect, hey, how's it going? Welcome in people that have come over from TikTok. I really appreciate you converting over. Hi, Rhett. Long time no see. Welcome in. Finally showed up, did you? How you doing? Thrall, I think that he... Thrall? Yeah. That... He had a brother, which was... he was the Blade Master. So it's a different hairstyle, but that kind of vibe. Yeah, maybe it is Thrall. Maybe it is. I can't remember. Okay, so I want to just darken around this shoulder, around the top of the pec here. I'm just going to blend that in. Remember, I still want the kind of black undertones to come through from the undercoat or from the base coat. Base coat? Undercoat? Undercoat. Surviving guess, usual pain and suffering misery. Wow. So positive, Rat. So positive. Thank you very much for swinging by, dude. Thank you. Comes with working in an American corp. I don't know what you did for a job, actually. Yeah, Jamie Little, don't worry about messing up. Just enjoy it. Have fun. And I guarantee you will learn so much from just diving in. I think there's an argument for saying that you learn more if you just dive in than if you're too cautious about it. You learn from mistakes, you don't learn from successes. Or maybe as much, You know what I mean. Rhett, look, I'm painting a giant orc. How are you? What are you painting? What are you working on? Have you finished your Ice Custodies, by the way? Yes, cool. Okay, I'm happy with the skin tone as is. I think we can move on. I'm running out of this green paint, so I'm just going to use it up. You do the code? The coders? Oh, the code, right? Yeah. That's right. That's right. So love your lives. You're so reactive to everyone. I'm not a fan of streamers that. Well, first of all, thank you very much. I'm not a fan of streamers who kind of just sit there and don't chat to everyone. Like, everyone has their different style, but come on, people are watching. And I like interacting. When I first started streaming, what I really enjoyed was the community aspect of it. And when I was younger, I used to spend a lot of time in my local game store, local games workshop. And this is back when they had like full-on veteran nights and people sitting around the table. And one of my favourite memories was sitting around the painting table, just chatting and painting with people. And for me, streaming and doing live streams and things like this is just a virtual way of doing like that. It's just I'm in the same place and I'm just chatting with people around the world while painting. It's the same kind of feel, and I really, really enjoy it. Rue, plus if you mess up, just paint over and try again. Yeah, exactly. Even if you mess up to the point where like, I hate this model, there are loads of ways to paint strip miniatures. Make sure you're getting the right kind of chemical, otherwise it can destroy the miniature. And then just start again, try again, and use what you learn. Right, a fine chaos model that's a pain in the ass. Oh yeah, you bought a fine chaos model. Poor you. A few more custodies to finish painting, including the new Short King Captain. I hate that model. I hate that model so much. It's such a bad design. It's such a bad design. Oh my god. Right, okay. I think I'm happy with the skin tone. Just so I can see it together, just so I haven't missed anything. I'm gonna just place the head on. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Okay. I think we're gonna start adding some pink tones. What's the time? 5:15. We've got about 45 minutes left. I reckon if I can just do the skin tone and get the skin tone right and all the scarring and things like that, I'll be happy. That's what I'm aiming for. So and then next stream we can just work on all everything else. So we've done the green. The green is essentially finished. Yeah, the green's finished. What we're going to work on now is adding some pink in. So, do I go familiar pink or do I go moody mauve? I'm going to go... No, I'm going to go Moonlight Coral, actually. Actually, I think it was Moonlight Coral. I'm going to have a look at my own tutorial and see what I used. Videos... Orc skin...
Moonlake.
Yeah. Oh, amazingly... I clicked on it, and the part that I need of that tutorial is Moonlight Coral. So yes, that is the right model, right painting. Fantastic. Just real bad photo. It looks much better in your hands, to be honest. The photo is at a bizarre angle. Which model? Oh, the short king, the short captain. It's just, yeah. Maybe I need to see it in real life. It looks very mis-scaled to the rest of Custodies. It really does. Okay, so Moonlight Coral, and we're gonna add in some. I'm gonna do 3 drops of that, 2 and a bit drops, and then probably like 4 drops of speed paint medium. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want this quite thin, and maybe even thinner than that. Yeah, this is going to be kind of around the eyes, around the ears, around the nose. Just add a completely different tonal variation in. We will swap brushes though. He's not as tall as other custodians when you see his leg bone. As a custodian's kind of character, I don't know, I just expected more. I feel like it doesn't do custodians justice. Okay, so this is going to go around the eyes, and this might take a couple of coats. Maybe I should have dry brushed this. No, it's okay. Those from Warhammer. This isn't Warhammer, but it is kind of fantasy style models. So no, it's not from Warhammer. This model is actually available on my web store. This is a 3D print that I sell on alchemistmodels.com. Warhammer don't actually do busts anymore. They used to. Back in the day, from Forge World, they had busts and kind of display models, which were very, very cool. I don't know why they stopped doing them. I honestly have no idea why they stopped, because I think they'd still sell today. They're probably the best thing that Forge World have done. I remember there was an awesome Ashman, I think his name is, the Dire Elf Aspect Warrior, or Phoenix Lord. An awesome statue of him. And they had like a Tyranid Hormagaunt bursting through a floor, which is insanely cool. And then various busts of kind of a Space Marine bust, and I think there was an Orc bust as well. There you go. You can kind of see the pink variations blending into the skin tone there, just giving it a little bit of extra depth, and it's just something a little extra, little bit more. So do the inside of the ears. We're just going to put it a little bit around the base of wherever hair is. Cool. Messed up Valerian has small shoulders compared to everyone else in Small Spear. Valerian. I don't. I'll know the model when I see it. I can't recognise it from the name. I've given up, kind of trying to memorise Warhammer miniature names, because it was my job for a while. Literally was my job to kind of catalogue Warhammer miniatures along other things. So I've just kind of given up doing that. Kind of just playing around. We'll put it around the bridge of the nose as well. Not too much, but just to seep into the green. There we go. Like it just gives it a little bit of something else. You can kind of tell the difference between the skin there and on the face. And then when we start working on the tongue and the teeth and the gums, the eyes, it'll all come together. So let's put a little bit around the back of the ears, maybe, or around the base of the ears, not the back, but the base. There we go. Around there. And then around the beard here. And the paint I'm putting on is incredibly thin, but it's quite potent. And again, we've achieved this with, how many paints have I used? 4? Just 4 paints, I think, and no wet blending. This isn't wet blended at all. This is just speed paints. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It was Black Library model. It's one book of the series. Oh, no idea. If it's Black Library, I have no clue whatsoever. I will have to take your word for it. Right, we're just going to move on to another brush. That's kind of my nice detail brush, and we'll put. Where's this going to go? A lot of this pink is going to go wherever the skin meets either armor or anything that isn't skin around those lines. So it's kind of like a shadow line. I'm going to put it over these veins as well. Veins? Scars? I think these are veins. And we don't want too much. Like that pool there, way too much. So we're, again, using speed paints as a kind of filter rather than a shade. There we go. Again, you can kind of see the tonal difference between the left and the right there. It's gone darker, but with a hint of a different shade, which is quite nice to see. Okay, we are coming up at 5:30, which means TikTok. That is where our time together ends. But if you want to continue watching the content, then please feel free to come over to the YouTube channel. I'll be there for another half an hour until 6 o'clock UK time. So half an hour. You can find the YouTube link in my bio, or just head over to Alchemist Models on YouTube. If not, thank you very much for hanging out, and I will be live again on Monday. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Adios. Bye. My phone is almost dead as well. There we go. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. And YouTube, you have my undivided attention. Bailey, you're looking adorable. Well, we're just going to take a short break just to adore this. Look at that. Clearly, such a hard life this dog has. You look incredibly chilled out. He's folded himself in. Look at that dog. Look at that. Oh, adorable. Okay, anyway, sorry. Alright, continue on the left-hand side, on this side. So we're kind of going over all the places where we put the not all the places, but a lot of the places where we put the orc skin, the darker tone green, mainly focusing on wherever the skin joins any kind of armor or clothing or something like that. I kind of want to add a little bit of like a purple. Maybe this is quite a pink shade. Purple, I think, round these veins, possibly. I'm not sure. Maybe that would be too much. It's almost like a red tone that's in that skin at the moment. Okay, right. Where are we going to go from here? Have we got anything on the face that we need to do? There are a couple of scars. There is a scar going over his eye. I think what we need to do is go in with a white, like a small detail brush, and just start cleaning up. This brush? Yeah, sure. Just start cleaning up. Maybe painting over some of the scars, just so we can see, where we're going next. I'll also paint the whites of the eyes as well. Usually I'd go in with a black to do the base coat of the eyes before I hit the white, but I don't think we need to do that now. I don't think we need to do it right now. This white paint's going to dry out really quick in this temperature. Welcome into anyone who has joined recently. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm currently painting. I shouldn't talk when I'm painting detail stuff like this, but I'm currently painting the Blood and Skulls bust. This model is available on my web store. You can find a link in the description, or you can find it in the new releases section at alchemistmodels.com. And I'm just going around and doing a lot of the kind of retouches on anything that isn't skin, essentially. So he's got two kind of eyebrow piercings here. That we're just going to touch up, and we'll probably send gold, I think, but it's got to be like a vibrant yellow gold to make it distinguished enough from the skin. So if I use something like Aztec gold, which has got a green tint to it, which I love that paint, but if I used it on this, it wouldn't stand out enough. So it's got to be like a vibrant gold for these, for those piercings. And I wonder if I do black straight over. I might do the beard. Let's just touch up on the teeth, actually. Because bony matter is something that we'll use for the teeth, and you've really got to work from quite a bright undercoat to get it to work. And especially when it wouldn't work if you had these pink and green kind of overspills, you'll see that come through the bony matter quite significantly. So just touch up there. The gums I'll probably do before I do the teeth. And we'll just work from the tone that is there. We've got a bit of green, got a bit of pink there. And I'll just work it a little bit. So we're just touching up all these kind of piercings. Oh, that's a little bit too watery on the white. A little bit of paint bleed. Here we go. Sorted. Crisis averted. I'm debating just painting black over the hair as it is, because it might just be dark enough to get away with it, to cover that pink and green. I think we're going to give that a go and see if it works. So for that we're going to use, I think, Black Templar. Thank you for gathering all the loot. I'll be having that. Thank you for gathering all the loot? Oh, I think I know. Oh, right, I know what you mean. Okay, yeah, I got you. That really confused me. No, am I almost out of Black Templar? No, do I have to make an order? Do I have to actually make a paint order? I'm not a fan of that. Ruh-roh. Still reading messages out of order, I see. That's not out of order. You didn't put anything else in, did you? Thank you for gathering all the loot. I'll be having that. There wasn't anything else before that. The last thing before that was Black Library model. Right, Black Templar onto the beard and see if it covers the green and pink. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Is there anything more? Oh, yeah, it might be that. I mean, it came through now. Yeah, no, that didn't come through at all before. So, which is concerning. That does mean that YouTube just isn't letting some chat through for whatever reason, or just isn't putting it through. No, that didn't come through at all. I thought you were talking about the stuff we were talking about in Discord. It's not the first time it's happened, dude. It's happened a couple of times. Not as bad as it was when I was over on Kick, but again, the YouTube streaming experience unfortunately isn't as good as Twitch, but this is where I am. Okay, we've got some wrappings there. Make sure we go around the back of the beard. And I think after I've done the beard and the necklace, I've got to do the fur as well. Yeah, no, I was hoping to maybe get the head on the body today. I don't think that's going to happen. What you saying you're in a dungeon? What game are you playing? Is that Beard? Yeah, that's Beard. Dark and Darker. Highly recommend. Ooh, okay. Alright. Hedgehog actually recommended a game that I am trying not to become obsessed with, called Sovel, the fantasy warfare game. That, if you remember the White Dwarfs of old and the way that they did Battle Report graphics, it's basically that as a game. It's Warhammer Total War, but top down and like no graphics. It is brilliant. It is so simplistic. It is fantastic. And I was playing it. I started playing it at like 10:30 last night. I'm like, oh no, I need to put some serious hours into this, and I'm way too tired. But it's very, very good. And it's free on Steam. Happy days. Okay. Yeah, the black covers those interviewing bits quite well, so we'll just go with that. How we do with time? 19 minutes left. What can I get done in 19 minutes? We can get the hair. I don't think I actually want to do, apart from like where it is at the moment, I don't think I actually want to do anything more to the hair. I don't want to I don't want to dry brush it. I don't want to shade it more. This is one of those instances where one coat of Black Templar actually does the job. For instance, I ran in with my Bardige Barbarian and fought a Warlock toe-to-toe on the exit platform. I won and then quickly jumped off to loot his body. Bless him, he tried to escape. So is it kind of like Diablo, that kind of style of dungeon crawler? Or is it more Baldur's Gate? What are we talking here? I'm gonna need to order some more Black Templar. Can this pot hold out until Griffcon and then I can pick it up there? Maybe. Possibly. You can certainly use speed paints on flat surfaces, but they really do shine on things with a lot of texture. It's more brutal on either of those. It's first person and the PvE is a pain in the ass, and players like, oh, Dark and Dark. No, I think I know the one that you're talking about. Actually, can it be played with in virtual reality? I think I might know the one you're talking about. D&D classes with PvP and loot. Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about. It's kind of like it reminded me of like Escape from Tarkov. No? Oh, okay. All right, maybe it's not right. Not that I ever played Escape from Tarkov, but it kind of reminding me of those vibes. Cool, okay. Progress is being made. I'm focusing, trying not to get that much paint on the skin. I'll do my voice. Clip from the other night. Brand's voiceover, just perfect. All right, okay. I'll have a look after stream. Okay, cool. I think that's all the detail of the hair done. So I'll just grab a bigger brush. Or a brush that I care less about, and we will just throw a load of paint on the top knot. Again, it's quite hot and dry in this room, so the paint is drying out quite quickly, and because GW refused to use dropper bottles, it's going to be drying out the entire pot, which is delightful. Thanks, G-Dubs. I'm not too worried about this hair because, I mean, it's going one colour and it will catch the highlights where it does. So we're not overly worried about it. If I feel like when it's dried and I take a look, you know, tomorrow or something, and I'm like, yeah, maybe it could do a little highlight, then we might dry brush a tiny amount on. I don't think you'll need it because of the way that the Black Templar has worked. I think we're going to get away with just doing this one coat. But I'll have a look tomorrow and see what it's like. Again, welcome in to anyone who has joined recently. Thank you very much for swinging by. If you're new here, my name is Alchemist Models. I am currently painting the bust called Blood and Skulls, which is available on my web store, alchemistmodels.com. You can find a link to the model in the bio, in the description, sorry, down below. And I'm just very quickly putting some Black Templar on all of the hair sections. This isn't the whole model, this is just the head. I just wanted to paint it in sub-assembly because there are a couple of sections underneath the beard and around the neck that would make it a little harder to see and get to if it was all assembled. So we're just working it like this at the moment. And I think on next stream we'll be able to glue the head into place. Black Legions, my new favorite. Black Legions are fantastic. I would recommend everyone have a pot of Black Legion and Black Templar. I'd have a pot of both Black Templar and Black Legion because they are subtly different. One's cold, one's warm, and it does make a difference. Right. So we got the body. We got the head. Do I? What's the time? 10 minutes. I reckon I could do the gums. And for that, I'm going to use Familiar Pink. Familiar Pink? Yeah, sure. Let's give it a go. I kind of want to... Hang on. A little bit of white. We'll just touch up these top gums here. But just the edges of them. There we go. Yeah, Black Legion's a fantastic paint. It has a lot of applications. Mainly for hair, like this. Right, Familiar Pink. It's a vivid pink, but we don't want it to be vivid. So we're going to do 3 drops of that and 3 drops of 4 drops. Why not? Of Speed Paint Medium. We'll give that a little bit of a mix together, and we'll see what this looks like. I think this is going to be like stage 1 of the gums. Might take a couple of coats because it's going to be quite vibrant at first. I don't mind it going over the teeth. We can touch the teeth up afterwards. That's fine. And then we'll do the inside of the mouth as well. And we'll build this up over a couple of layers. So I want it to be quite dark, but this is going to be your highlight stage, I think. Yeah. And then we'll probably go in with Moonlight Coral to shade, so it matches this kind of reddy purple pink skin tone of the green that we've added in. It's going to take the majority of that off so it's not taking forever to dry. We're just using a moderately damp brush to wick up any of that. That just hasn't covered it at all. Ah, it's because the white paint wasn't dry. Yeah. What we will do while we're waiting for that to dry is we're gonna use the same. I've been using this for the last 3 tongues, and I don't know why, but Tyrian Navy is a really good kind of monster / alien tongue colour. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. It's like this blackish blue, and I love it. Because we're working with quite a large model, we'll do this and then we'll throw in probably that Moonlight Coral. I just love Moonlight Coral, the name and the paint, for some extra variation in tone. I wouldn't mind using this paint to kind of shade skin at some point. We'll have to give that a go. Yeah, we'll throw in a little bit of... I might actually use Tyrian Navy to shade. Let's throw a bit of medium into that. I might use that to shade the gums, so it all kind of blends into one. Time 5 minutes. It's got the pink kind of shining through. And if I put some Moonlake Coral over that, it will just change it just enough and start blending it in with the skin, but also, yeah, I like that. That's cool. So that's going to need a little time to dry, probably more time than we've got. So what are we gonna do? I kind of like the idea of red wraps. I like red wraps as an idea. So should we do that? I think we'll start with... Actually, we'll do exactly what we've done. I'm basically taking the last two models like... Oh, God. We're good. It didn't break. See? ABS resin. It's the best. The last two models I did, which is Orc and Tyranid, we're using stuff that I learned from both of these on this model. So we're going to use... I'll wipe that up a little bit. I'm going to go with Blood Red. I'm getting looks at the dog because he knows that it's well past his food time. Polbother! Bet you can do some blood splatter with a fine brush on those shiny white ones. Oh, on the teeth? Ooh. Ooh. I could do... I don't know whether I want to do it on the teeth, but I might do it on the armour. I might do it on the armour here. But I maybe might just do some rust. I'm not sure. Interesting. Interesting idea with the blood splatter. I will come back to that idea. I like it. I like it. It's definitely going to be a thing, like a final finishing touches thing, if it becomes a thing. Right, Blood Red straight out the pot. And we're going to put this on the wraps. And because we slap chop this, we're actually getting quite a lot of tonal variation in that already, so I'm not sure I'll need to go back and do anything further with that. I quite like that. Maybe add a little bit of brown, possibly, maybe. Couple of other busts from this range. I think there's 2 female orcs as well, so we can always get those done at some point. But the focus is this and probably Shieldbreaker, the Minotaur. This is definitely, I think this is the best bust. I think this is the one that has more going for it, but the other two are the other 3 are very cool. Right, in the last 2 minutes, just so it'll help with the picture if nothing else, I'm just going to go over the teeth. So I'll do a whip picture, and I just want the teeth not to be blue and pink. There's 2 sections. There's a section of the gum here that I just didn't do anything with. Or is that a ring? Oh, it's a bit of jewellery. Ah, he's got a bit of jewellery at the bottom of his tooth. It's got a ring. Okay, cool. I thought it was a bit of gum, but it's not. So we'll work that into the plan when we do the metals. it on this tooth here. And then I think a little bit of touch up on these jewelry bits. Oh, I've missed the rings there. Okay, and I think we'll call it there. Made a big dent in it. The skin tone's pretty much done. It's just details around the gums. But hang on, let's just make sure there's not too much stuff on my hands. Let's put that in there like that. And that's where we're at so far. I'm pretty chuffed with that. Seeing it, I need to do the veins and the skull, like he's got a scar, but it's the detail stuff. I think for these veins, I might do a bit of manual. I'm not sure. I might make those quite bright actually. I'm not entirely sure. Or send them darker. Okay, I'll have a think about the veins. I'm not sure about the veins. Not sure yet. I have seen one ugly drawing line across the face, so that's really annoying. Okay, all right. But that is what we've done today. So that was 2 hours. The power of speed paints. Thank you, Polybartha. Thank you. That's very kind. Cool. Right. Okay. If you're interested in this model, in painting your own, then it is £30 on alchemistmodels.com. You can pick it up in the new releases section, or there is a link directly to the model in the description below. But yeah, thank you very, very much to everyone who's... I'm trying to not knock the model over now. Thank you very much to everyone who's come and hung out today. I need to go and feed my dog, because he's looking very poignantly at me. Yeah, see? Look at those eyes. Would you say no to those eyes? I wouldn't, so I'm not going to. But thank you very much for coming and hanging out. If you've enjoyed the content, then please do like, share, subscribe to the channel, all that YouTube stuff. And I will be back on Monday, and we'll be continuing painting this because I need to get it done before the end of the month. If you're watching this live or relatively recently afterwards. Remember, the GriffCon is at the end of July. Tickets are live on the GriffCon's website. If you're in the UK or happen to be visiting the UK, it is in Essex, so it's just northeast of London. So if you're anywhere around there, it's a 2-day event. There are traders. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there with a load of models and a load of display cabinets. And you can talk to me about painting, speed painting, and 3D printing to your heart's content. And I'll also be running a painting workshop, looking at speed painting. Is that everything? I think that's everything. So, have a lovely weekend, and I will see you on Monday, or whenever you decide to swing by next. Have fun. Bye.